walked my garden with a dear friend who loves gardens and flowers as well. And as we walked, it's the end of summer, the end of August. I was sharing with her and thinking about the plants in my garden, whether they're annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, that just make summer successful, that last through the heat, the humidity. You don't have to do a lot to them. The pollinators love them, and they just add beauty to the garden. So I thought today I would just pop through my garden spaces and highlight some of those plants for you. This time of year, I know I'm thinking about spots I want to add something in the garden to, or spots that I need to change something. And I'm visiting my local garden center today because they've got 50% off some of their plants. So it's a great time of year to think about things. And for me, I want plants that thrive in the summer. I want plants that bloom, that are pretty low maintenance, and are just gorgeous. So let's take a walk in the garden. Before we get started though, I do want to talk about this plant right here. Now, this is a daylily, and I know daylilies can be considered kind of common plants. They are pretty wide open for zones. You can grow them almost anywhere. What I love about this one, and the blooms are starting to fade, but there's a couple gorgeous ones. It is a beautiful yellow. It's like a butter yellow. So this daylily by Proven Winners, it started blooming in June and it has not stopped. So you can see these seed heads right here. There's another new one forming. Now, a lot of people don't like daylilies because of the mess, but with this guy, it's right here on my patio. I can quickly come in and just pull out these dead stems. I can deadhead any blooms, just pop them off. It's a super quick cleanup. I did cut some scraggly leaves back a few weeks ago. But for an easy pop of summer color, I love this pop of yellow against all the green. I can't say enough great things about this particular version of daylilies. I know there's tons of them out there. I have others in my garden, but I have to say this one being bred to bloom nonstop, and it doesn't make a big mess. It's absolutely a favorite. All right, let's get started and walk the rest of the garden. I have some great things to show you today. So as I walk through the garden, my next flower to share with you, or plant, is actually an annual. And I've talked about this in lots of videos, but this is the Cleome. Now this started as a 4-quart container. I actually ordered these from Gardening with Creekside, their YouTube channel, but they're a nursery and garden center. They grow their plants. And truly, I got it in the mail in a 4-inch pot. And look at this stunning plant. Now this is kind of a pink purple. The pollinators are already all over it. I also have the white version, and I just absolutely love it. This was put here as kind of that filler plant. So 4 plants really filled up this space. Now I put them here because I wasn't sure how large my rose was going to get. I transplanted this rolled doll rose this year, so I wanted to just kind of fill in around it. And it absolutely has succeeded. You can see I'm 5'6", how tall it is. I have not deadheaded it. I have not cut it back. I don't fertilize it. This annual is stunning. So if you want something that's tall, beefy, nonstop blooms, pollinator friendly, it is bloomed from June. I think it will keep blooming through the end of September. Cleome would definitely be added to my gardening list, and I will continue to grow it in my garden. So in this garden space, I actually have 2 plants to talk to you about. So the first, we'll start in the back. You see that gorgeous pop of yellow. That is a sunshine ligustrum. That is the one from Southern Living. And sunshine ligustrum, it can get huge. The beauty of it is you can prune it back. You can prune it back hard. You can topiary it. So you can almost even grow it up like a tree. And the coloring is stunning. You just cannot beat the color on that in the summer as a gorgeous backdrop. So if you're looking to add a hedge, privacy, a pop of color in a shrub, highly recommend it. So I have it in another spot in the garden where it's lower, and I'm going to keep it kind of low and mounded. So an amazing shrub, absolutely on my top summer list. Now the second is one I know not all of you can grow, so just stick with me. If you can't grow buddleias or butterfly bushes, I know some places they're invasive. They are not here in zone 7B. This is the pink cascade butterfly bush, and it is absolutely stunning. Now, right now, she's in between blooms. I've got all these buds. The buds, when they first start out, almost look iridescent, and then she comes out with these huge, beautiful blooms. Now, when the blooms kind of fade, they do look a little brown. I like to cut these and I use them in dried flower arrangements in the fall. They're stunning. Also, if you do deadhead, she will continue to bloom even more. What I love about this particular version is the size. She is about, I don't know, maybe close to 4 feet and about 3 feet wide. She doesn't really get bigger than that. She's not one of those monster sizes. But I think any type of butterfly bush, if you can grow them, is just an amazing summer plant. And I know if you're a gardener, you already know that. They're amazing. Pollinators love them. And I just love the pops of soft color that this one provides in this beautiful pink tone. Let me show it to you up close. So next on my list is it's a shrub, but it's more of a tree type shrub. And that is going to be a Rose of Sharon. Now, I have 2 Rose of Sharons. They are from Proven Winners, and they are supposed to be sterile. I would say they're about 95% sterile. What that means is Rose of Sharon are notorious for dropping all their seeds and bringing up little seedlings. And so a lot of people don't like them for that. Now, I do get a few, but the spaces I have these, I weed in and I mulch, and so I don't have big plants coming up. So it is definitely worth having this beauty in my garden. I love that she is like a small tree. So I've got the beautiful height, the blooms all the way up at the top, and these blooms are absolutely incredible. What I also love is if you need to prune her, you can prune, and the seed heads here are beautiful in floral arrangements. Now, I like to keep mine kind of pruned up because I don't want it all the way around the bottom. You can have her more like almost like a wide crepe myrtle tree, or you can prune up. You can limb them up, but they continue to get new growth. So I just let mine have the new growth, and then I kind of have it top heavy. So this is the white chiffon, and I'll show you in just a minute the blue chiffon. It's absolutely gorgeous. I wish I had done multiple of the blue in the garden because that purple blue, it's so beautiful. You're gonna love it. So in this garden, I want to show you a perennial that is new for me that I had not grown before, and that is this cardinal flower. It has these beautiful spires that come up. There are new ones down below. I've got, there's a bumble coming in for a landing. 1, 2, 3, I've got 5 stalks right now, but there is new growth and new buds, and it's going to continue to get tall. Now, this is just its first year, so I know over the years it's going to get larger, but it is a perennial, and it is going to bloom late summer. So if you're looking for that kind of purple blue, I think it also comes in white. It's called Cardinal flower, and I am loving it. I want to get a couple more. I hope they have them today at the perennial sale. I'd like to pop a couple more in this garden space. It's not supposed to be a self-seeder that's aggressive like larkspur or maybe delphinium, so I think it could be a really good option. So one of my absolute favorite late summer plants that is so easy, you don't even have to think about it, is the anemone, perennial anemone. Now this one I think is Anemone Joy. I'll try to find the name and put it on the screen. Absolutely stunning. Now what I love about this, I know some people don't like the anemone flower because it can be obnoxious in the garden. So it can spread. Because I weed and mulch this space so heavily, I just kind of yank out any excess, and I really haven't had an issue with this guy. The leaves are kind of big, almost like ivy, but then you get just the incredible blooms. Now, you could deadhead. I don't, and you can just see all these buds. What I love is she gets tall, and she's just going to come up and be this beautiful touch of pink in late summer. So she's not a full summer plant, but I wanted to share with you because I think she's a great option for a cottage garden. She also could be an option for a space where you don't mind it spreading. So definitely consider anemones. Now I have two other plants that are shade tolerant. They're not blooming yet. They're in the shade garden. So I'll show those to you on another tour. Okay, so here's the blue chiffon. I wanted to show you the blooms up close. It's kind of a bluish purple, like a lavender, but look at how stunning they are. I really wish I had put two more in my garden just to have them as you walk through the garden, they would kind of be popped through. So if you're looking to redo a garden space and you are interested in a Rose of Sharon, this is the blue chiffon. And I think having that pop of blue in the garden is just spectacular. So this one is in my driveway garden. And so I do see it when I come home each day, but I really wish I had one popped further up in the garden. I may have to find a space for one. So beautiful. Now I have this one kind of limbed up. I don't let the branches get wide at the bottom. Now this does need some clean out. The great thing is you can prune these back. And I think this winter, early spring, I'm going to do that to mine so they don't get so flouncy and just get more structure. But they are stunning, and I just can't say enough good things about them. Now this area, I do get a few more self-seeders, but again, I mulch, I weed, so it's not a problem. It is so worth having her in the garden. So as we talk about summer plants, and I was walking my garden with my friend, she does not have the Limelight hydrangea, and she just could not believe these blooms. So I have three Limelights. These are the standard Limelight hydrangeas, and this one is doing the best. The blooms, just incredible. Now, Limelight has been on the market. It's a fan favorite. It gets well over 6 feet tall, blooms nonstop. The blooms start kind of white, get creamy, or start kind of lime green, get creamy white, and then get a little bit of pink on them. They don't turn super pink in my area, but then they kind of start to crisp up. You can cut them for dried flowers, or you can just let the seed heads just kind of, the flower heads form. They're great for pollinators and they add winter interest. So I couldn't pass up talking about Limelight. Now, I do want to tell you, do not think that you could put this beast in a partial shade area. Now, maybe if you are in zones 9, 10, and you are maybe out in California. I know some California friends that I watch on YouTube put these in more shade. But in a kind of East Coast area, especially a cooler zone, they need full sun. So I have two that are partially shaded by my crabapple trees, and I'm going to have to take them out this year. I've tried them for 4 years. I've pruned them every way you're supposed to do. The branches come up nice and sturdy like these, but due to our intense rainstorms that we'll get, they have just flopped. And part of that, I truly believe, is because they're in so much shade. They're just not getting that strength from the sun. So I love Limelight, but if you are in a, I guess a zone probably 5 to 8, I would definitely have them in sunshine, would just be my tips. And especially if you're in an area that doesn't get overly hot, like 100 degrees. So those are my tips for that, but this one's gonna stay. I did prune her up this year. I really like it. I think it also has helped her not flop as much, but panicle hydrangeas are my favorite, and this Limelight, she's a beauty. So I had to mention her on our tour today. So in this garden space, this is walking towards my shade garden. I have a maple tree, a redbud tree. Eventually they're gonna touch. This will be more full shade. But for now, I do get some sunshine here. So I have two plants that are absolute summer favorites. First is gonna be this gorgeous Spirea. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I love Spireas. This is the Double Play by Proven Winners. And I have this guy in multiple spots in my garden. So I have two here that are huge. The beauty though of this plant is you can keep it pruned back. I've let these just grow. But the beauty of this is that it gets these incredible blooms and it gets at least 3 flushes in the summertime. So after flush 1, you can come in and I give it just a little prune with the hedge trimmer. You don't have to be selective or delicate with it. It's a tough plant. Then it will regrow and reflush. And I just love that in a garden space where you've got shrubbery, you've got other plants, you're just gonna get this pop of summer color. I also have 2 of these at the entrance to the shade garden. While they don't bloom as profusely, they are gorgeous plants, shrubs, and they do get those pink blooms. So they can tolerate some partial shade. Now I have these down at the driveway and they're in full sun and they stay more that lime chartreuse green. They also though bloom. So you can prune them in, a round shape, you can mound them, or you can let them go a little crazy like the one I have here in the back. So my second in this space is, I know you've heard this plant, you've probably grown it. It's the Suncredible sunflower, and I love it. I have grown this every summer that I've lived in this garden, 4 years, and I used to put it up more in the sunshine. It would get 6 feet tall. It's incredible. You can deadhead it. I like my garden clean, so I'll come through and deadhead once a week, but you don't have to. It is just going to bloom nonstop. It's just so happy to have little sunflowers in your garden. Now, I like to think about color in my garden space. So I have this planted here, which leads to my shade garden. It's a darker space. I love the pop of yellow. I also love to do red against my studio door. And I think the yellow, reds, the little bit of pink all go together beautifully. So if you think about adding for annuals next year, Suncredible would be amazing. It also does great in containers, but I think in the soil, in the ground, it's going to get huge, and I think it just thrives. No fertilizer. You don't have to deadhead. It's great for cut flowers. They last and last. So I think it's a no-brainer, absolute summer winner. So when I think about this summer shade garden, there's really one plant that stands out amongst all of them, and that is the gorgeous Sun King Aurelia. So I have 2 of them in this space. This one is the oldest. I added a 3rd one in the front part of the shade garden. So I wanted to show it to you in the larger scale of the shade garden, because when you look at all the colors in the shade garden, this chartreuse color really pops out. I think it stands out in a shade garden space where you have a lot of dark colors. The texture is beautiful. The edges or the stalks of the flowers are kind of almost a little bit of a red tint. Now, in areas that get a little bit more sun, like partial shade, this plant can get huge. Now in my garden, it is staying, about 2.5, 3 feet by 3 feet. I've got room for it to get bigger, but because this is such full shade in the summer, mine are staying relatively smaller. But if your area does get partial sun, this can get huge. So again, it's the Sun King Aurelia, and it is one of my absolute favorites. I want to get one to add up in my new garden space. I think that would just be a beacon of kind of summer light in the garden. And so I'm going to look for that today when I go plant shopping. All right, I've got a vertical plant to show you in case you're wanting to add some vertical summer interest before we wrap up. Let's head to the main garden. Before we leave the shade garden, there is one other plant that I think is worth talking about, and that is Brunnera. So Brunnera is amazing. I mean, look at this foliage, you guys. I often forget about it, but as I was walking by, I thought, I need to mention this because it goes dormant in the winter and then it just starts popping up and it gets larger and larger throughout the summer season. It does not burn like hostas do if it gets too much sun. It doesn't really require a lot of water. Look at how silver those leaves are. Now mine are almost 3 years old and this is about as big as they've gotten. I know this plant can get much larger. It also can spread in some areas. So if you are in a dry, hot climate, like a high desert, I know that it can spread. The plants that I have are proven winners. They're supposed to be more sterile, so I don't have that issue. Now I will show you, I planted this little baby one. This is the Jack of Diamonds, or maybe the Queen of Hearts. There's a couple brands or a couple names of Brunnera from proven winners. You can also get Brunnera in off-branded. And then I added this little variegated one. This was from just a plant nursery. And it's struggling a little bit, but I feel sure the rootstock's good and it's going to come back next year. It's supposed to be a little bit different variety. So when you look at that garden space, you can just see that silver pop with the Brunnera, and then of course the Sun King Aurelia behind it. So I think those two really make a shade garden beautiful when you have it paired with lots of hostas and lugwort and all those kind of traditional shade garden plants. Even next to the ferns, I think it's beautiful. So another one to not miss or add to your garden for summer interest. So I think having vertical interest in your garden really makes the garden come to life. It's great to add vertical. This is on a tutor. I have some other tutors throughout the garden. It's a great way to add height when you don't have space for a tree. There's also some amazing plants that you can grow that provide that especially summer interest. So this is a tutor. You can hardly see it underneath. And this is Major Wheeler, the kind of trumpet mixed with honeysuckle vine. And this one, I actually transplanted from my mom's garden, and we gave it a big haircut, dug up the whole vine on the container and moved it here, and it's done phenomenal. Now, I also added this same plant in my arbor at my entrance. What is amazing about this particular variety is you can just cut it back and it's going to flush back out. So I did that this spring. I was a little nervous, and you can see it's gorgeous. So it gets these sweet little kind of orange and red blooms, and they have enough of the honeysuckle type that the hummingbirds love it. I'll try to pop in a picture of the hummingbirds on these. Just absolutely love it. Pollinators love it, but the hummingbirds especially. And then it turns into these little berries that will turn red as the season progresses. It also just provides gorgeous foliage. Now, what's great about it is if it starts to get unruly or out of hand, you can just cut away. So you could come in with hedge trimmers, with clippers. You can just cut and kind of keep it shaped the way you want it. Now, I have a second honeysuckle type trumpet plant that I want to show you because its colors are just one of a kind. So let's go to the other side of the garden. So over here next to the crabapple tree, I have this incredible honeysuckle type plant. Let me show it to you up close. Look at the colors. So this is just a different variety. It is a honeysuckle trumpet. This one smells more like honeysuckle, and it has definitely more of a honeysuckle slash trumpet type blooms. They are stunning. Now you can see this one, it's starting to grow up into my tree and it's really coming over from the tutor. Now I also have a clematis growing on this tutor. It kind of gives me that early spring interest through like the 1st of June, and then this vine just takes over. Again, it is really easy either in the fall or early, late winter, early spring. I can give it a great haircut. I'm probably going to come in a couple days and get it out of my tree. It is starting to really go crazy. But I just love it. It's a pop of summer fun, kind of fills this space and just is beautiful. So any type of climbing vine really adds that interest in the garden, and I think gives you that summer easy maintenance. I don't have to prune this back right now. I could do it when I do fall cleanup, and it's just going to be wild and fun and beautiful. As I'm standing here, I want to show you the other one from a further distance so you can really get a good look at it. I think this is a great example of seeing how that structure of having that height in the garden really makes an impact in this space. I have the hydrangeas behind it. I have a grass, some dahlias that are here for this year. Now I have planted some other hydrangeas in this area that will fill in beside the tutor. But I think just having that height there makes a nice impact. So we've walked most of the garden. There are so many other plants that I love for summer. My #1 summer favorite are dahlias. I did not include them in this list today because they are actually very high maintenance. You have to store the tubers or buy the tubers. You have to collect the seeds and start the seeds. They require particular soil and fertilizer and deadheading, staking. So while they are my #1 summer plant, they are not #1 for ease, maintenance, all those things. And today's video, I really wanted to talk about those things in the garden that are a little bit easier and really withstand the heat and humidity. So as we wrap up, I want to tell you about my absolute, probably favorite summer garden shrub, and that is the little quickfire hydrangea. This plant is so amazing. If you are looking for a hydrangea that can handle some partial shade, can handle the sunshine, withstands rain, heat, humidity, little quickfire is fantastic. So it is a panicle, and it's got these sturdy stems that are kind of really dark, almost a dark brown, dark magenta. They start off as these little white blooms, and they get more cone shaped as they grow. They turn this creamy color that has pink in it. And what I love about these is they're very lacy. So it's more of an open panicle. So you just get almost the look of a lace cap in a panicle. They just don't stop blooming. I've actually got a new bud right there. This is a new bloom right here. The new blooms are a little bit smaller. The blooms stay on, even though they're this kind of lace cap, they don't stop. I fertilize it in the spring with all my hydrangeas, and that's it. You can cut the blooms and use them, dry them. They dry beautifully. So a lot of times I'll cut some of the lower ones and use in arrangements. And then you can leave the blooms for winter interest, and they just dry this gorgeous kind of golden color. So it's one of my favorite hydrangeas. The foliage is beautiful. It's got this deep green color, and it just stays so healthy, doesn't flop. I can't say enough good things about it. So I wanted to show you today a little quickfire. It gets about 3, maybe 4 feet tall in some spots. It's about 3 feet wide. Now I kind of manage it. It could probably get even bigger if it was in full sun. So that's going to do it for today. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit of my favorite plants in the garden. There are plants that I'm sure you've heard about, you may grow. Let me know in the comments if you've had success with any of these. But I also would love to hear your favorite summer tried and true plants. that you have in your garden space. It's always interesting to me to hear what other people are growing, what thrives, what you're loving in your garden, especially during the heat and humidity of summer. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. I've got some big planting projects coming up. So I'm going to be getting dirty, getting the tools out, and I hope you'll come along and watch. Please click like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.